Hey, family. It's Brother Ross Sunneru, tapping in at the Galactic Studio, where we will continue the Akashic Records, unlocking the secret universal knowledge and nature of the Akasha, including prayer, guided meditation, and Akashic tarot readings. We got into prayer previously, and today we will go into the introduction and guide to Akashic tarot readings. Alright. And oh yeah, please feel free to like, subscribe. All my information will be in the description below. And we're going to start with the introduction and guide to Akashic tarot readings. Despite their vast importance as critical maps of our soul, tarot started out as a simple parlor game for entertainment. The origin of the tarot cards, as we know them today, goes way back to the 14th century. Artists in Europe created the first deck without the intention of creating a divinatory tool, but accidentally created one of the mightiest ones. These were simply intended as only entertainment game cards. The association between these cards and the divination only started to appear in the 16th century or early in the 17th century. However, their use was of much simpler nature than it is now. Over centuries, specifically during the beginning of the 18th century, tarot managed to establish its significance as one of the most important tools of divination. Suggestions started to be made for possible meanings each card might hold, laying out their divinatory purposes. Nowadays, the magic of these cards has drawn more and more people to finally establish tarot as the most popular among different types of psychic readings. A basic overview. People aren't only drawn to tarot just for their ease of use. They aren't as easily as reading tea leaves or other methods as such pendulums. Their gravity lies in the power they hold, in understanding our higher selves, and having a dependable gateway for interpreting what the future might hold for us. If you are still unfamiliar with the concept of divination and its different tools, you might fall under the wrong impression that tarot readings are equivocal to reading into the future. However, the truth is, while tarot cards are the closest thing we have to a time machine, they still can be used as a fortune-telling method by anyone and everyone. Bear in mind that grasping the concept and going through the guidelines of tarot is easy with practice, yet doing accurate readings isn't simple work. Not everyone is cut out for this talent. The Akashic Tarot, which started out as a simple deck of playing cards, grew into hundreds and thousands of different options to choose from. You can find a deck of cards that are based upon famous artwork, such as movies, series, books, and more. However, there's one deck that has stood the test of time, and that is the Akashic Tarot deck. This is one of the most significant and mighty decks available. The gravity it holds lies in the fact that this is the only deck designed for assessing the akashic records and unlocking their profound energy and abundant source of information. The tool is one of the most powerful ones that offer clear access to the higher mystical and magical powers of the akashic records and compasses. You can use this deck for tapping into great fields of wisdom and seeking guidance through different aspects of your life. Maintaining your cards. The most important thing you need to look out for is protecting your cards against any physical damage and keeping them clean from negative and evil energies. There are a few ways that you can do this, from consecrating your deck, wrapping the cards in a silk scarf, protecting them in a small box, putting them in a cloth bag that is protected by a drawstring. Some people prefer to resort to a combination of these different methods to save them from any harm that could reach them. How to consecrate your magic tools. In ancient Wicca and modern pagan tradition, all magical tools should be consecrated before any attempt of using them. To interact with the divine, the ritual can still be used after you have already felt and played with your deck to expel any negative energy that might wrap your cards. This method comes in particularly handy in situations where you are not sure about the history of your magical tools in terms of their past owners or who used them before they reached your path. However, you should bear in mind that some specific tools don't require any consecration. Before their use, some practitioners view consecration as an unnecessary ritual that might disrupt their natural energy flow and confuse conscious and unconscious energies. Directions before cleansing their cards. Some people prefer to get to know the deck by touching and feeling it. Keep in mind that there is no right or wrong way of doing any ritual or even one solid purpose in doing it. Some people prefer to consecrate their magical tools in their jewelry, clothing, and altar itself. The items used for this ritual are rather simple. You will need a white candle, a cup of water, incense, and a bowl of salt. Each item represents an element in a direction to summon the power of the north, south, east, and west, with guardians of air, fire, earth, and water. Cast your circle. If you need to complete the ritual and cleanse your tools from any past owners or dark energy. Akashic Tarot cards as gifts. There are 3 different beliefs when it comes to receiving a tarot deck as a present. Some fortune tellers believe that tarot decks lose their magnificence and spiritual value when they are received from someone else. These readers have strict rules against accepting tarot cards as gifts. However, there's one exception to the rule. If there's a person you trust who is gifting them to you as a purely heartfelt gesture, then there isn't a strong reason to push you to return the gift. They can then be used after a good cleaning and consecration. Some readers have a strong belief that tarot cards should never be bought. They must be received as gifts from people whom they have strong connections with, for the magic power of love. Some other readers don't really care about the source of their decks, regardless of whether they buy their own or receive them as gifts. The source doesn't make one bit of difference as long as the cards are clean from any negative energies and they don't have a wrong feel to them. What's important is the connection you build with your deck and the accuracy of your readings rather than their source. An overview of the Akashic Tarot readings. Methods of reading have changed and evolved over years. Since reading tarot cards is a highly intuitive process, many readers even adopt and develop their own unique ways of reading Akashic Tarot cards. They played with the traditional meanings of the cards' layouts. However, we can point out a significant change that fell upon the cards themselves. There are different guidelines, books, and charts that will come in handy for beginners who are still trying to figure out the basic of doing a reading. Yet it is highly believed that the best way to the evolution of your talent is to start by feeling the cards, holding them, and trying to understand what they are telling you. However, some basic tips should be considered to get to know your cards and protect them before we begin to unfold the different aspects of learning how to do Akashic Tarot readings. If you are trying to get familiar with a brand new deck of Akashic Tarot cards, then the best way to get to know the deck is by placing them under the pillow you sleep on. This is why the cards will acquire your personal energy. Never leave your cards scattered all over the place. If you're carrying the cards with you, you can just leave them in your pocket or hold them in a protective shield until you reach your destination. Many readers don't allow anyone else to touch their cards to prevent their cards from absorbing any vibrations other than their own. Others might prefer for a reader to shuffle or cut the cards before they begin reading. After cleansing your cards by consecrating them, you can limit their contact with any energies by storing them with a quartz crystal that absorbs all these energies. If your cards have been handled by anyone and you don't feel comfortable with their presence, it's better to reconsecrate your cards or leave them until it feels right to you again. These cleansing rituals are necessary if you don't feel the need for them. However, if you must do them or any other spiritual cleansing ritual, then it is important to do what feels right. Once you are comfortable with how your cards feel, you will notice how your readings will start to improve. Guide to Akashic Tarot readings. Just like any tool of divination, there's no wrong or right way of using it. Reading Akashic Tarot cards is an intuition that could easily differ from one person to another. The focal point is to use the cards in your own unique way that allows you to shape your psychic ability. There are a different number of layouts and spreads that could be altered and switched between to achieve the highest accuracy of your reading sessions. The step to reading Akashic Tarot decks to unlock your higher self and open up a window to the future should start by understanding your cards. 1. Get ready for your reading by interpreting the cards. The deck is divided into two main groups, Major Arcana and Minor Arcana. To understand the basis of this traditional deck, we will go through the three parts of the Major Arcana that consist of 22 cards or trumps. Before we dive deeper into the meaning behind each one of these cards, we need to quickly go through the Minor Arcana cards in the Akashic Tarot deck that repaint the events of our daily lives. Each group represents an element of four essential elements. Wands, that represents fire. We have the Ace of Wands, 2, 2 of Wands, 3, 3 of Wands, 4, 4 of Wands, 5, 5 of Wands, 6 of Wands, 7 of Wands, 8 of Wands, 9 of Wands, 10 of Wands, Page of Wands, Knight of Wands, Queen of Wands, King of Wands. Pentacles, that represent the earth. Ace of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles, 5 of Pentacles, 6 of Pentacles, 7 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. Also, there are swords that represent air, from the Ace of Swords up to the King of Swords, and cups that represents water, from the Ace of Cups up to the King of Cups. The Major Arcana, the first part of the material world, cards 0 to 7. The first part repaints the material world, representing job, success, education, finance, and marriage. 0, the Fool. Despite what you might think, the Fool is the wisest trump of the Major Arcana, the one who knows everything. It represents wisdom, enlightenment, and guidance. The Fool symbolizes the eternal spirit of the deck, painted with the soul of the inner child, trust, and innocence. It gives way to new sense, a new cycle, or a new chapter in life. Number 1, the Magician. This card is the representation of the planet Mercury, which is an infinity symbol over the head of the magician. It symbolizes a great mastering and control over all conscious and unconscious processes. Number 2, the High Priestess. This card that represents emotions in Akashic Tarot, with its symbolization of intuition, the dream world, psychic energy, and all the feelings and instincts. She is the receptive minor mirror of the underworld, and everything happens below the surface. This card relates to the woman's cycle in terms of fertility, the womb, and the magic that the woman holds. 3, number 3, the Empress. This card connects with the planet Venus. She is the goddess of love and the great mother of the tarot cards. This card relates to beauty, relationships, and peacemaking. It has an artistic side. She indicates mothership in your relationship with other women in your life. Number 4, the Emperor. This tarot card comes with power, authority, leadership, responsibility, and action. Another side to him is masculine creativity, passion, and new beginnings. He is the father, leader, husband, authority figure, or the man in your life. The Hierophant, number 5. This card symbolizes your connection with your God, guardian, angel, and your higher self. This is a representation of practical wisdom and energy. Number 6 is the Lovers. This is the favorite card for almost everyone who is enjoying tarot readings. It indicates a golden key to a variety of choices and relationships. The Lover's card can represent heaven, earth, union, love, communication, duality, and the balance between masculine and feminine energies. We all hold them within us. Number 7, the Chariot. This is the card that combines the emotional side with the body. It is a clear representation of controlling emotions, the need for emotional protection, family, caring, nourishment. 2, pick a single card. Before beginning the exercise, take time to understand the meanings and different symbols that the cards hold. You also need to pay attention to receive meanings of the cards when they come up backwards or upside down. Some readers believe that when the cards are reversed, that's simply meaning that their meanings are also reversed. For example, the Lover's card would represent hatred, insecurity, and isolation as opposite in its normal symbols. These exercises are rather simple. All you need to do is draw a card out of the first part of the major arcana randomly every day. As the day passes by, take some notes of its major events and how they relate to the cards you drew from the deck earlier in the morning. Some fortune tellers prefer to dedicate a notebook or keep a journal for every card they draw, with highlights of their day relating to each card. You can then look back at the end of every week to reflect on the card that appeared the most and which cards were drawn more than others. This exercise allows a much easier understanding of the main energy of your records and the experiences that paint your aura. The second part, the intuitive mind, cards 8 to 14. While the first part of the major arcana focuses our intentions with the outer world regarding our family, friendships, love, and the emotions and instincts involved in different relationships, the second part is more about individualism. Cards in the group focus more on our individual beings rather than dealing with socialist issues. This part deals with the intuitive mind, using these 7 cards that reflect how we feel more than symbolizes our thoughts. They are attuned to what our hearts need in our unending search for the truth and faith. It is number 8 is strength. Number 9, the hermit. Number 10, wheel of fortune. Number 11 is justice. Number 12, the hangman. Number 13, death. Number 14, temperance. A 3-card layout. After you have kept a habit of drawing a single card and documenting daily events that relate to these cards, you should have noticed a certain pattern or some regular trends that have announced themselves regularly over this period of time. Since you probably have gotten used to the two-thirds of the major arcana, as well as the wands and the pentacles of the minor arcana, you should now be developing a sense of every card and its meaning and symbols. Now it's time to add a second part to the major arcana. To the equation, add to your pile all the wands and pentacles from ace to king, just like the previous exercise. Shuffle your cards and make a habit of drawing, this time 3 cards each morning, rather than just a single card. Don't look at the cards you pull up as individuals, but rather as a whole. Pay attention to why they fit together and how they are connected. Are all of them connected? Or is there a certain card that seems to stand out every time? The rest of the exercise is the same as before, where you notice your daily events and how they relate to the cards you draw out every morning. You can continue the habit of keeping a journal of every pile you pull and all the highlighted events of your day. The third card, last part, the intuitive mind, cards 15 to 21. You have already become familiar with the cards that deal with the material world and your connection to others. And you have added the second part that focus on dealing with the intuitive mind and your individual being. The last part of that encompasses the cards from the 15th until the last card in the major arcana gives you a window to understand universal laws and issues. This part is important as it deals with circumstances that might hold great importance in forming our present and future. Number 15, the devil. Number 16, the tower. Number 17, the star. Number 18, the moon. Number 19, the sun. Number 20, the judgment. Number 21, the world. The last exercise to draw, a pile of 5 cards from the whole tarot deck, including both major and minor arcana. 4 akashic records using tarot cards. By now you will have formed a connection with the cards, felt them, investigated their deeper meanings. You can now use them to have easier access to your akashic records, to connect with your higher self. Once you mastered akashic tarot readings, you'll be able to open yourself to the guidance and wisdom your akashic records hold for you. Only then will you be able to read more into your future. And on the next one, we'll come back and form our conclusion. But for me, I've always been interested in tarot cards. Ever since I was able to read, I would pick up the newspaper every day, and before I go to work, and I would read my horoscope. And I always enjoyed that. As I come into my adult life, I've just been drawn to them. and people who use them seem to have a lot of insight, into doing work, because this shadow work is continuous. It never stops. You have to continue to do shadow work constantly to improve a higher self. When we're in our lower self, we really don't care about much. But as we come into our higher understanding of self, and I just want to say thank you to all the tarot readers out there that are very inspiring and have a message to share with the world. That's really what it's about. It's about being of service. Because a lot of people need, insight. And that's basically what the cards do. They give you a little insight, I try to look at opposing sides of everything and never pick a side, but to be able to come to your own conclusion and make it work for everyone. It's truly about staying in that middle. That's where all the energy exists. Then again, it's Brother Rasan, Haru, tapping out from the Galactic Studio. We shall return. Peace, love.